Hi everyone, and welcome to this video about the top 10 overrated tourist attractions in Rome. Rome is a beautiful and historic city, and it has many amazing attractions to see. However, some of these attractions are more hyped up than they are actually worth visiting. In this video, we'll be covering the top 10 tourist attractions in Rome that some people might consider overrated. The Colosseum. While this iconic amphitheater is definitely a must-see when visiting Rome, it can also be very expensive to visit and the lines can be long. This might make it feel overrated to some visitors. The Trevi Fountain. This iconic fountain is a popular tourist destination, but it can also be very crowded and difficult to get close to. Additionally, the surrounding area can be touristy and not necessarily representative of the city as a whole. The Spanish Steps. This beautiful staircase is a popular gathering place for tourists, but it can also be very crowded and difficult to get a good view of. Additionally, the surrounding area can be touristy and not necessarily representative of the city as a whole. The Sistine Chapel. This famous chapel is home to Michelangelo's famous frescoes, but it can also be very crowded and difficult to fully appreciate the art. Additionally, the Vatican City as a whole can be overwhelming for some visitors due to its size and crowds. The Roman Forum. This ancient city center is a fascinating look into Rome's past, but it can also be very crowded and difficult to fully explore. Additionally, the surrounding area can be touristy and not necessarily representative of the city as a whole. The Catacombs of Rome. These underground burial chambers are an interesting and unique attraction, but they can also be very crowded and not worth the time for some visitors. The Vatican City. This small city-state within Rome is home to many beautiful churches and museums, but it can also be very crowded and overwhelming for some visitors. Additionally, the cost of admission to some of the museums can be steep. The Biblioteca Apostolica Vaticana. This famous library is home to some of the oldest and most valuable books in the world, but it can also be very crowded and difficult to fully appreciate the collection. Additionally, the cost of admission can be expensive for some visitors. The Borghese Gallery. This museum is home to a stunning collection of art, but it can also be very crowded and difficult to fully appreciate the works. Additionally, the cost of admission can be expensive for some visitors. The touristy restaurants. Some of the more popular restaurants in Rome can be overpriced and not worth the hype. It's important to do your research and find some lesser-known, authentic restaurants to get a better dining experience. So those are the top 10 overrated tourist attractions in Rome. It's important to keep these things in mind when planning your visit to the city, but don't let them discourage you from experiencing all that Rome has to offer. Thanks for watching. And always remember, you decide which path to take.